In 2024, I put nearly 1.5 lakh rupees on a self-publishing gamble. I knew the risks, I knew the odds, but I still went ahead. And now I and my book, The Broken Boyfriend, are at the stage I never wanted to be in. But well, today I thought that I have been giving a lot of advice and guidance through this video series, but why should you listen to me? Why should you spend your time watching this video series and learn something from me? I'm not perfect. I'm not a professional in this field, in the literary field, and most importantly, I have made a lot of mistakes. I want to share them all so you can make the right choice for yourself when you are faced with the same kind of situations. Hello, Namaskar, welcome, Swagatam. You're with the Versatile Doctor in TLB City. My name is Dr. Abhinav Atul, the Technical Manager, and I am back with another episode of our Let's Talk Self-Publishing series after a long break. The internet is filled with posts and videos like 10 mistakes to avoid or 7 mistakes debut authors make while self-publishing and things like that, where the internet personalities tell you about what you should and should not do. I'm going to go a little more personal and tell you about the mistakes I have made. In today's episode, I want to let you know that I am one of you, an avid reader and an amateur writer. Writing is not my profession. I have not taken any training for that. And self-publishing, again, it is something that I have learned only with research and my own experiences. I'm not a self-publishing expert or somehow professionally qualified for that. I am a doctor and an occupational health specialist. I am an expert in my field and have been working full-time for the last 12 years or so. I began writing in school. From small school plays, a little bit of poetry and a few short stories, initially in Hindi and later in English. My interest grew till I reached college, but none of my works got published in any widespread medium of distribution. A decade ago, publishing was not as easy as it is today. Well, allow me to rephrase that because most people would say that publishing is very hard even today. But back when I was in school and college, publishing was even harder, even tougher. And becoming an author was a harrowing proposition for many. Fast forward to a few years back, the self-publishing industry started booming. And then the pandemic came and so many people utilized the time that they had while working from home in rekindling their forgotten passion for writing. And lo and behold, we got so many people realizing their dream of becoming a published author. I had decided to give self-publishing a try in 2019. I was not aware of so many details at that time. I re-edited my first English novel, The Fourth Kiss, and then in 2022 I published it through Kindle Direct Publishing and Notion Press. And that was my first lesson. Publishing, as difficult as it might have been, is nothing. Let me be honest, I never assumed that my debut novel would become an overnight sensation and a bestseller, but when days and weeks went by and hardly any books were sold, I realized my first big mistake. I had done a lot of research into self-publishing. I had learned a lot about book editing, making it presentable and so on. Everything so that my published book would be as good as I could make it. But I didn't pay any attention to what would happen if no one bought it. I already had a YouTube channel, The Versatile Doctor, but I had almost no idea about the space called Bookstagram. I knew video editing. I made book trailers for my novel, but I didn't know what to do for people to be interested in those book trailers. In short, I didn't know how to market my book. If I had known, I would have deferred the publishing date by maybe a month or two and spent more time building a buzz around my book, getting more engagement on social media, and had a more impressive book launch, so to speak. Right around that time in 2022, I started making videos sharing my learnings with you people on my channel. How to get your books published, what expenses are involved, how to use Kindle Create, and so on. Then I made another mistake. I paid Bookstagrammers for reviews. Now, don't get me wrong. In today's day and age, sponsored reviews or review collaborations have a place in marketing of any product, be it a 200 rupee book or a 1 lakh rupee phone. But the matter of balancing investment against the possible benefits needs to be very delicately considered. I wasn't so smart. I paid several high-profile bookstagrammers with thousands of followers for leaving a book review and making social media content. Bad idea. I am not against a bookstagrammer expecting some kind of compensation for their time and effort in reading, reviewing and promoting your book. But no one person is worth spending 5 or 10 times your book's value for their review, regardless of how many followers their profile has. Because even the number of followers on Instagram is many times just an illusion. So a book reel is just a book reel. It is not worth much in the long run. So think before spending too much. And that is one of the reasons why at TLB City we have a separate room just for book reviews. Honest, free book reviews. If you are interested, check out the review generator room in TLB City. But I digress. Moving on, I started working on my second novel, The Broken Boyfriend, utilizing everything that I had learned so far. In the meantime, I continued making videos about self-publishing too, and I also kept trying to promote my first novel, The Fourth Kiss. Now I came to the biggest mistake I have ever made in publishing my books. Biggest because it was not a mistake at all. It was a gamble. So I still went ahead knowing all the odds and wasted almost 1.5 lakh rupees. What happened is, in March of 2024, I visited a Crossword bookstore in Gurgaon. It was the first time in a very long time that I had visited a physical bookstore. Watching so many books in front of me, neatly arranged in shelves, lit with magical amber lighting, that gave me an itch. The itch to have my book distributed in offline bookstores. Now, this is a very dangerous dream to have. I mean, of course, any author would love it to see their books displayed in the bookshelves of a real bookstore across the country. But it should be known, and I did know at that point of time, that self-publishing companies, at least in India, do not have any offline presence. But I still wanted to give it a try, knowing that if it failed, it would be a lesson, and if it didn't, it would be an example. So I did a lot of research. I contacted Crossword bookstore. They got back to me with an insane quote. The charge of displaying my book in one of their stores for 1 month was 30,000 rupees. Now, in abstract, it might look like a small amount, but try to understand. It is to display your book in one bookstore for 1 month. If you had your book listed at a price which gave you 100 rupees in royalty for each book sale, you would need to sell 300 books in a month from one single store to make this money back. It is not impossible, but really, if you had that big of a following that people would flock the bookstore to buy your book in the hundreds, you wouldn't be needing to pay a bookstore that much money to just shelf your books. Anyway, so with the prohibitively expensive charge, trying to display a book in Crossword by myself was out of question. Then I searched for a self-publishing house in India which had some kind of tie-up with offline bookstores. Notion Press was out of the question, obviously, because their only offline presence is in book fairs, and for that they charge extra, like 10 to 15,000 rupees for just displaying your book in New Delhi World Book Fair. Then I found one company which had their top tier publishing plan with offline distribution for 6 months in various cities in various bookstores. Their overall package charge was a little over 2 lakhs. Again, extremely expensive, but I went for it. They showed me a sample photo of one of the authors standing with their book in a Crossword bookstore. So there appeared to be a chance that they could actually deliver it. Mind you, I was aware that all the other services in the package would be of useless quality. editing, trailer making, website designing, and etc. And of course, I made the cover design myself. I already had my own website, Amazon author page, and Amazon KDP account. So I chose to pay them this insane amount only for the offline bookstore visibility. I got everything written in the agreement, including the clause to make 1/3 of the payment after the final marketing and offline bookstore display would be delivered. As expected, one disappointment after another, they showed their true colors very soon. My novel was published. Yes, it was published, but not in the groundbreaking way that they had promised to publish it. After months of follow-up, they said that they will display my books in the bookstores only after I made the full payment. And I would have paid them the final installment just to have that one dream come true. But in truth, it was not about the money. The type of service they had given until that point, the ignoring of mails, not picking up my phone calls, no confirmation of any book sale, not a penny in royalty, and so on. It was clear that they would not have delivered on the promise of a bookstore display even if I had paid. So now I have asked the publisher to unpublish my book. I can get it published with another publisher, probably Notion Press, in the manner that I keep telling everyone else to do it. Meaning, use the publishing house only to publish it, nothing else. No gimmicks, no other services. Just so you know, this is not just a rant against that publisher, that specific publisher. They are running a business and they have to make money, and this is not a regulated marketplace, so anyone is free to do what they want. It's an open jungle right now, and I jumped into this pit knowing that they won't be able to deliver whatever they had written in the package. It's just way too comprehensive for one small startup publishing house to deliver what big houses like Penguin, Random House, etc. can do. And I'm just waiting for this lesson to be over to let everyone know what I have learned and go back to writing and publishing the right way. Our options are actually very limited right now, and we have to reconcile with the fact that Amazon will not bring paperback publishing in India. If they didn't capture the market in 2021-22, when so many of the people were taking up writing and publishing and reading for that matter, what's the use of jumping into this space right now? But the best and the most transparent way of publishing is still Kindle Direct Publishing, at least for the ebooks. So as I said, our options are limited and we need to go to these retail publishers for publishing the book of our dreams in paperback or hardcover. Now, my dream is to make sure the TLB Publishing House, which is actively being pursued as the next order of business in TLB City, it becomes everything that the other publishers are not. Every author who has had a bad experience working with other publishers are giving their inputs into making a business model for TLB publishing which is ethical and not exploitative. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is still a lot of work to do in that arena. What I wanted to share with this video is that it is very easy to say don't do this, don't do that. But when it comes to doing the research and actually making decisions and balancing the budget against the expectations and the harsh realities of the market, it is a different ball game altogether. I am going to continue to share more insights, more knowledge, more experience, tips and tricks on self-publishing through this video series on TLB City. And you must understand that I am not preaching to you from a pedestal. I am indeed one who is sharing my experience with all of you. I have made mistakes and I'm not ashamed at this stage to acknowledge them. Next video onwards, I will spend some time talking about marketing your book. We will talk about making a brand image, creating a buzz and recognition which will help people to discover your book. Until then, this is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off. I know you may have a lot of questions. The comment section is open. As always, shout out in the comments and ask whatever you want. This is the 10th episode of Let's Talk Self-Publishing series at TLB City by The Versatile Doctor. Until the next episode, Namaskar.